Good players can't get past bad coaching. So I think if you're the Cleveland Browns, how do you find, and look, we don't know what will happen with Stefanski, but if you move on from him, who are you going to find that's going to be a leader of men and rally the troops in an organization that just doesn't matter who's there?
Why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play?
Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
The way he talks about Shedeur, I've never seen a coach talk about a quarterback in a certain way other than Sean Payton or Russell Wilson.
If Shedeur is who we think Shedeur is, then let them grow together.
Like, why I want Shedeur to loser? He's been a winner his whole life. Shedeur been a winner his whole life.
Yeah.
Former NFL quarterback Brian Hoyer just dropped a truth bomb that's sending shockwaves through the NFL community. The ex-Brown signal caller didn't just question Kevin Stefanski's coaching ability, he essentially laid out a blueprint for why Cleveland's coaching situation is actively sabotaging what could be their franchise quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. Let's break down why this matters, why it's explosive, and why the Browns might be repeating the same nightmare they've lived through for 2 decades. Brian Hoyer knows a thing or two about coaching. The man played for Bill Belichick in New England, arguably the greatest coach in NFL history. He played for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. He's seen excellence up close. So when Hoyer speaks about coaching, you listen. And what did Hoyer say? He brought up Mike Vrabel.
I've watched what Mike Vrabel has done here in New England, and that's a guy who understood what culture he wanted to bring.
Vrabel inherited a Patriots team that won 2 games last year. 2! They added Drake May, a talented rookie quarterback, and suddenly they're competing for a playoff spot. The transformation isn't magic. It's alpha leadership combined with modern coaching philosophy. Here's where it gets spicy. Hoyer explained what makes Vrabel different, what makes him successful, and by extension, what Cleveland is desperately missing.
He's tough on us, but we know he loves us too, and it's a very fine balance. And so
that balance, that's the secret sauce the Browns don't have. Stefanski, he's coaching like it's 2005. Hard-nosed, old-school mentality without the modern touch that today's players, especially rookie quarterbacks, desperately need. Hoyer even broke down how the modern player has changed, how they're told they're great from 17 years old, how they're paid millions in college through NIL, how they transfer schools at will. Then they hit the NFL. Reality check. No transfer portal, no opting out. You're stuck with your team, and you better produce. Here's where the narrative gets brutal. Stefanski has been the Browns' head coach for 6 seasons. 6! He's won Coach of the Year twice. Great, but let's talk about what matters. Wins and losses. Last year, 3 wins. This year, 4 wins maybe. The man is running the franchise into the ground while simultaneously alienating the one bright spot on the roster, Shedeur Sanders.
The way he talks about Shedeur, I've never seen a coach talk about a quarterback in a certain way other than Sean Payton or Russell Wilson and Kevin Stefanski.
That's not a compliment. That's an indictment. Other coaches with rookie quarterbacks, they're hugging them on the sideline. They're praising them in press conferences. They're building them up publicly while coaching them hard privately. Stefanski, he gives bare minimum praise. He doesn't celebrate Shedeur's success. He doesn't build his confidence. And confidence is everything for a rookie quarterback. Look at the stats. When Shedeur runs scripted plays, the plays Stefanski designs in practice, the plays Shedeur knows inside and out, he's excellent. Against Buffalo, first drive, 7 points. Against Pittsburgh, first drive, field goal. Second drive, touchdown to Harold Landry.
If Shedeur is struggling because of his lack of experience, that's what we all want to say, right? For those that say Shedeur is struggling. Y'all realize the scripted plays that Shedeur has run, both last week against the Steelers and against the Buffalo Bills, look excellent.
When Shedeur has comfort, repetition, and experience in Stefanski's offense, he looks like a future Pro Bowler. But then what happens? Stefanski abandons the game plan. He doesn't adapt. He doesn't adjust. He just lets his rookie quarterback sink or swim in situations he's not prepared for. Let's take a walk down memory lane. Cleveland Browns quarterbacks over the past 2 decades. Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson. What do they all have in common? They were winners before Cleveland, every single one of them. Brady Quinn dominated at Notre Dame. Colt McCoy was a legend at Texas. Johnny Football was electric at Texas A&M. Baker won the Heisman. Deshaun was a national champion. Then they came to Cleveland and they failed.
Johnny Manziel, a gigantic winner his whole life, and the Browns coaches sucked. This time the Browns actually have a coach that's competent.
Is Stefanski really competent, though? Or is he just another name on the list of coaches who couldn't develop a quarterback in Cleveland? The argument for keeping Stefanski boils down to one thing. There's no better option available. Joe Brady from Buffalo? Unproven. Doug Peterson already failed in Jacksonville. Brian Daboll couldn't even develop Daniel Jones properly. But here's the counter-argument that should terrify Browns fans. If your justification for keeping a coach is there's nobody better, you've already lost. The name on everyone's lips? Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator who's turned that franchise into an absolute juggernaut.
You watch Ben Johnson doing the stuff he doing all that over here in Detroit. Let's go talk to him.
Johnson has transformed Jared Goff from a quarterback who was traded away by the Rams into an MVP candidate. He's made Detroit's offense unstoppable. He's creative, he's modern, he's exactly what Shedeur Sanders needs. The Lions didn't settle. They didn't keep their mediocre coach and hope things would magically improve. They went out and found excellence. Why can't Cleveland? The answer is simple. Ownership. The Haslam family. They're the constant. Coaches change, quarterbacks change, general managers change, but the Haslams remain, making decisions, interfering, creating organizational chaos.
If you're the Cleveland Browns, how do you find, and look, we don't know what will happen with Stefanski, but if you move on from him, who are you going to find that's going to be a leader of men and rally the troops in an organization that just doesn't matter who's there? It's Jay, I think you said it, like the boss is still the Haslam family. Like, how are they going to get out of the way and hire someone to let them do their job?
That's the billion-dollar question. Let's talk about something Hoyer emphasized that gets overlooked in quarterback debates: the offensive line. Hoyer played with Alex Mack in Cleveland. When Mack got injured, the entire offense collapsed. Why? Because the offensive line is the foundation of everything.
And when we lost Alex Mack, I really felt like that was the downfall of that season, because he was the leader of that unit. He was in that system, the guy who made every call, every line call, got the line going to the right people. And we fooled people for a few weeks after he was hurt that we could still run the ball. And that's why we were able to still have our play action pass game and have success with that. But once people realized that we really couldn't run the ball the same way, now they start teeing off on you and you have to turn into a drop back pass team. And we just weren't built to do that. And so
look at Detroit this year. They lost their center, they lost Graham Glasgow. Jared Goff went from MVP candidate to getting obliterated every play. The running game disappeared, the play action became ineffective. Cleveland's offensive line is a disaster, and Stefanski isn't fixing it. He's not scheming around it, he's just throwing Shedeur Sanders into the fire and watching him get crushed. That's not development, that's negligence. Here's the harsh reality Browns fans need to accept. Kevin Stefanski is a liability, not an asset. He mismanaged the quarterback room all season, starting a 40-year-old, trading for Kenny Pickett, then realizing too late that his fifth-round pick was better than everyone. He's won 3 games last year and 4 this year. He's killing Shedeur's confidence with lukewarm public support. He's not adapting his scheme. He's not protecting his young quarterback. And, most damning of all, he's not the alpha leader this franchise desperately needs. Brian Hoyer laid out the plaintiff. Mike Vrabel, Jim Harbaugh, Brian Flores. These are coaches who walk into a locker room and command respect immediately. They're tough but loving. They're experienced but adaptable. They're leaders. Stefanski, he's a play caller who got promoted beyond his capabilities. The Browns have 2 choices. Fire Stefanski now and find a real leader who can develop Shedeur Sanders properly, or keep him and watch another talented quarterback get destroyed by organizational incompetence. We've seen this movie before in Cleveland. It always ends the same way, with wasted talent, frustrated fans, and another rebuild. Shedeur Sanders deserves better, Cleveland deserves better. And if the Haslams can't figure that out, this franchise is doomed to repeat its miserable history for another decade. The clock is ticking. The option is obvious. Will Cleveland finally get it right, or will Shedeur Sanders become just another name on the list of quarterbacks the Browns destroyed?